It is said that the bigger the engine, the better. Although it doesn't completely apply today, it was the only way to gain more power in the past. Besides that, you were a bigger hero with a bigger engine obviously. Big engines of today are not so huge compared to those built especially in the beginning of the last century. This time, it is going to be about the largest production engines in the automotive business. Bugatti W16. You are familiar with this big boy. 4 cams, 4 valves per cylinder, 64 in total, 4 turbos, and 4 times the VR4 in just one 400 kg heavy body. It's been only used in the Bugatti Veyron and Chiron, excluding a few concepts like the 16C Galibier, which could have been a sexy 16-cylinder 4-seater. Regardless, the W16 is the only one from this list still being produced today. Dodge Magnum V10. The Magnum V10 was created as a gasoline alternative to the Cummins diesel engine lineup. Sourced from the 5.9-liter 8-cylinder, it had far more torque than any other comparable petrol unit, having a usable torque curve from just 1000 rpm. It's interesting that even though it burns gasoline by design, it sounds just the same as the 6-cylinder Cummins at idle. Marmon Series 16. The Marmon 16 was one of the variations sold by Marmon Motor Company in the 30s. They built 390 examples using the revolutionary 16-cylinder engine back then. It had an aluminium block and overhead valves, both very rare technologies in the 1930s. Thanks to this, the engine was much lighter than the rivaling Cadillac 16, both sold for around $5,000. Chevrolet Vortec 8100. The Vortec 8100, as a redesigned big block Chevy, was a heavy engine with its cast iron block and head having 761 pounds. The 8100 started as a 7.4-liter 454 big block, which received a taller engine deck and longer connecting rods. With these modifications, the stroke length was increased by 9.4 millimeters. Cadillac 500. Just at the beginning of the 70s, Cadillac introduced the biggest production engine on the market. The number 500 suggests its volume in cubic inches, being an 8.2-liter V8. It made around 400 horsepower, over time going as low as 190 horsepower at 3600 rpm in 1976. It was due to the emission regulations, with which the compression ratio went significantly down, as well as the gross power rating changed to the net one. Dodge Viper V10. The Viper V10 was the first 10-cylinder by Dodge ever. It was born as an 8-liter, being sourced from a truck engine series named the Chrysler LA. However, it became a real deal as a Lamborghini offered a hand and designed cooling, crankshaft, and fine-tuned the whole thing. Over time, it evolved into an 8.4-liter powerhouse. Locomobile Model 48. Locomobile was founded in 1899, and yet in 1903 they stopped working on steam engines, while the combustion engines were on the rise at the time. A couple of years later, they introduced the Locomobile Model 48 as their top-of-the-range model, basically an American equivalent of the Rolls-Royce Ghost. It had a tax power rating of 48, hence the name, although actually it had 85 horsepower. Crane-Simplex Model 5. The history of this company originates from early 20th century as an European car's US importing company. They built their very first car in 1904, mainly from imported Mercedes parts. It was bought by Baxter Brothers, which owned a lumber company currently still existing. The Model 5 was one of their creations, with a 564 cubic inch flathead inline 6 producing 110 horsepower. Hispano-Suiza J12. The J12 was the most luxurious model by Hispano-Suiza, after which, in 1938, they switched back to an aircraft manufacturer. Initially, the model was powered by a 9.4-liter engine, producing 220 horsepower, but 2 of all 120 cars were fitted with a 250 horsepower 11,310cc V12. Simplex Model 50. Still remember the European car's US importing company? They also constructed this Model 50, which is even more crazy than the Model 5. Not only the engine is bigger by around half a liter, it was a 4-cylinder rather than a straight 6. Its output was significantly lower, and it had the T-head valve train layout. Bugatti Type 41 Royale. The Bugatti Type 41 Royale is one of the largest production cars in the world. It weighs more than 3 tons and measures 6.4 meters in length. Besides, it has one of the largest engines, and if the stroke length wasn't lowered from 150 mm, it would have the largest production engine as a 14.7 liter, 1.4 meter long and 1.1 meter tall.
Et la toute nouvelle Bugatti Super Sport.
Pierce Arrow 66A. Ladies and gentlemen, the largest engine ever put into a factory car was a 13.5 liter straight 6 by Pierce Arrow. It appeared in the 66 model, with a side valve technology and T-shaped head. It is said that this was the pinnacle of American automotive craftsmanship in the early 20th century. The car itself could surpass a top speed of 80 miles per hour and return around 8.5 mpg US.